All right, so we're going to do a normal traffic pattern, VY climb to the traffic pattern altitude, and 80 knots slow cruise on downwind. So just a normal traffic pattern. We end up turning crosswind at 300 feet below the traffic pattern altitude, which here the traffic pattern altitude is 1,000 feet. And so we did our run up, everything is set, lights. Turn this one off. Camera is our transponder, and action. Full power, elevator back pressure. As soon as the nose starts popping up, relax the back pressure. There's the back pressure relaxing. Keep the nose light and just keep the, go to the climb attitude. There's our takeoff, liftoff, continue to go to the climb attitude, and the airplane, the speed will settle down at 74 knots VY. And we're at 71, 72, so relaxing the back pressure, a little bit of trim. Look at our pitch attitude, left and right. And we can kind of semi-let go. We can see that the aircraft is climbing at the proper speed of 74 knots. And we're at a good pitch attitude and climb out. Coming up on 700 feet, clear left, look to the left, and a left turn. 30 degrees of bank, relax the left rudder a little bit. Coming up on 1,000 feet, smoothly reduce the power, allow the nose to come down to level off. We can see our runway right there. Planning our downwind leg, smoothly reducing power, allowing the pitch to come down or helping the pitch to come down. Coming up on the proper downwind turn, clear downwind, 30 degrees of bank, relax the rudder a little bit from our climb attitude, and now we're positioning ourselves at the proper position away from the runway at 1,000 feet at slow cruise. So the runway should be right about here. When we have our strut, we can judge it to the strut. And when we have a low wing aircraft, we judge it where it's cutting the wing. And we're at 80 knots downwind. We're going to look for our key position. Notice I let go. I want to fly hands off. And this is a pretty good position for the traffic pattern. So coming up on downwind to beam the tower, you know, Cessna 123, downwind to beam the tower, touch and go. Tower says cleared for touch and go, no traffic in front. So a beam, the new runway starts right here, it's been shortened, so right about here. Carb heat, power reduction to about 1,500, 1,400 RPM, and flaps 10 degrees. Now we're looking at our key position, which is about 45 degrees aft. Right there's pretty good. Nose down, start our descent, and we start our base leg turn. Okay, speed should be in the neighborhood of 70 to 75 knots, and we got 10 degrees of flaps. Start judging our descent rate and our see if we need flaps or not. Right now we're looking pretty good. We're targeting that spot. It's a CAAPVAA approach, constant attitude and power variable airspeed approach. That's for a ground school. Looking for our base to final. Looks like a good base to final. Left aileron, left rudder. And I'm not using any more flaps because I'm looking pretty good on the descent rate. I'm at 75 knots, looking just right. Okay, right about here, still looking pretty good. I'm going to go to 20 degrees of flaps. Airspeed should start decaying down to about 65, 30 degrees of flaps. I've got 65 knots, a little bit left of center line, and little pitch down. Got 60 knots, that's a little slow. Smoothly start pitching to the landing attitude right there and slowly reducing power. I got the landing attitude. I'm looking at my pie in the sky, and touchdown. Let the nose come down, right on center line. I didn't need to see the center line because I knew I was there, and that was off there. 3 clicks, flaps up. Look at the wing flaps, look at the wing flaps. Indicator, smoothly add power. Back elevator pressure. Let the airplane lift off the ground on its own. Right rudder, stay on the center line. So I need to slowly get back to center line. I'm looking at my pie in the sky. I can see my reference where I am. It takes a little while to learn that, but you'll be able to reference your center line and your runway in time. Once again, I was already right at 74, and I put too much back pressure, and so now it's 73 knots. Putting the nose back down, go to the attitude. I got flaps up and full power. I forgot to get the carb heat off. Okay, that usually reduces power. So usually when I'm flying the carb heated airplanes, I keep my thumb out. When I put this forward, I hit the carb heat at the same time. Coming up on 700 feet, there's my pull cue reference. Or looking outside, 30 degrees of bank. Climbing at 74, a little bit of back pressure, looking at where I'm going to roll out, and right rudder, right aileron, roll out, keep the climb going. There's my downwind position, smoothly reduce power, reduce pitch attitude to the slow cruise pitch attitude, go to bank again, turn downwind. We got 80 knots. 1,000 feet. It's a combination of elevator and throttle. I'm adding a little bit of back pressure. I'm not trimmed up properly, so still need to kind of fine tune it. Okay, I'm almost right there. Proper downwind position, 80 knots, 1,000 feet, hands off flight. Yeah, I usually take the hands off just for a little bit, just to make sure I'm right there, but keep my hands at the ready in case I need to control anything. And there we are, downwind again. Long Beach Tower, Cessna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, downwind, touch and go. Cessna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cleared for touch and go, cleared for the option, whatever they get back to us. And I've got a little bit of less speed, so I'm adding a tiny bit of power just to kind of get me back right, fine tuning everything. I'm a little bit low on altitude, so I'm climbing at 50 feet a minute. That's about all I need. Coming up, I'll beam my numbers again. Here they come. Glancing, looking for traffic coming in. There's a beam the numbers. Carb heat, reduction of power. Again, between 14, 1500, 1 notch of flaps. Get the nose down to the C pitch attitude or a little bit below to start our descent. A little bit of a trim. 45-degree position. That looks pretty good to me. Start a left turn. Left rudder, left aileron, a good square turn to base leg. Judging my sink rate, judging my attitude, constant attitude, because I'm aiming for that spot even though I'm kind of over here. Everything looks really good, airspeed's good, 75 knots, everything looks great. This time I'll be a little better positioned to turn base to final. So here I am turning base to final. Everything looks good again. I don't need any power change. And this time it's a lot better base to final turn. Those VASI lights are not correct for the new position of the runway. Everything looks good. Speed looks good. I'm going to go 20 degrees of flaps. Keep that attitude. Trim. Perfect. 30 degrees of flaps. 65 knots. Short final. Looks just right. Gradually reducing power. Maintaining the attitude, start flaring, flaring, flaring. Hold the pitch attitude, look to the pie in the sky. Reduce power simultaneously, touchdown. Nose wheel down, right on center line. Keep the power off, keep a little bit of back pressure so that the nose wheel doesn't get too much pressure. And still no brakes. We'll slow down pretty good. Here comes a yellow taxi line. So adding a little bit of brakes. Slow down to proper taxi speed. Follow the yellow brick road. Keep it right on your nose. Continue to follow that yellow line until we get clear of the runway. Those are your markings for the runway. Dashed on this side, solid on the other. Get your tail past those, stop, power comes back, and now clean up the airplane. Don't do anything until after that. Flaps come up, carb heat comes off, transponder stays on. Alt is all that's left, so we leave that on alt. So lights, camera, action. Lights as appropriate. Strobe comes off. We leave the taxi light on. Landing light comes off. And we're ready to taxi to parking.